Welcome back to Film Snob HQ. The road to Avengers Doomsday continues. We are up to yet another MCU TV show. And whilst I've been very clear about my feelings on these shows and their length and how slow they can be, this TV show introduces maybe my favorite character post Endgame. It's a show that was received with mixed reception. I'm not quite sure why. A lot of the comments seem to be very specific about who the audience is for this show, and like, spoiler alert, sometimes you're not the audience for the show, but that's okay. I am definitely the audience for this show though, and I'm talking about Miss Marvel. Insert graphic here. Miss Marvel follows Kamala Khan, who is the second Miss Marvel. The first Miss Marvel, of course, being Carol Danvers. We never saw her in the MCU. She went straight to the rank of captain. But Kamala Khan is a Pakistani Muslim girl from New Jersey who is a huge Avengers fangirl. And I really like this idea that now that the first generation of heroes, or even the first couple of generations of heroes, have been established, there's now this fandom of them within the world that's been created. There's merchandise, there's artwork, there's cosplaying. I really liked that element. It was a really fun way to do it. Kamala idolizes Captain Marvel. She wants to be a superhero. She wants to be the number one expert on Captain Marvel, and finds out very early on in the series that she has powers. At first, she thinks it's linked to this bracelet that she inherited from her grandmother, but it turns out that the bracelet is actually just a device that unlocked the power within her. It gave her access to something called the Noor, but it turns out she has mutant genes. Which is very exciting in the final episode when that X-Men theme plays. Now, this is a departure from the comics. If you've ever read the comics, you'll know that Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, is actually an Inhuman. But I've read a bunch of comics. Inhumans and X-Men mutants are basically the same. And before you come and yell at me and tell me how different they are, yes, the Inhumans go through the Terrigen Mist and that unlocks their powers, whereas mutants are just born with it and then something traumatic unlocks it. I know. But apples and oranges. This is a really fun show. It's a high school show. It's about teenagers being into superheroes. I would love to see Kamala Khan team up with Spider-Man. I feel like there's a lot of fun to be had there. You can see why people were expecting a Young Avengers or Champions show or movie. Like, in this phase alone, there are so many new young characters. We've got Kate Bishop, Hawkeye. We've got Tommy and Billy Maximoff. We got Kid Loki. We got America Chavez. It made sense that they were going to do this, but yet we still haven't seen Young Avengers or Champions, so hopefully soon. This show, I think, works best when it focuses not on the superheroics, but the family dynamic. The parents are cast perfectly. Kamala's dad is such a sweetheart and loving, and there's a moment in the first episode where he gets in body paint to be like the Hulk to kind of support her. It's very sweet, and then Kamala does something very teenagery and breaks his heart. And it's very heartbreaking. And then Kamala's mother, and I've forgotten the actress's name, but she plays Muniba. She is brilliant. She was also Kumail Nanjiani's mum in The Big Sick. And she's just an incredible actress. One of the hardest working actresses we've got out there, and just delivers these wonderful, stern parental performances, but obviously built out of a place of love and respect. She's wonderful in it as well. The villains of the piece are a race called the Jinn. So these are people who have access to the Noor as well, just like Kamala, but they're not mutants. They have access to their powers from another dimension, basically, and they're trying to track down the bracelet and go home. That's what they want to do, but going home would mean creating an interdimensional rift, which could harm a lot of people. I think the real takeaway of this show, and maybe what people didn't get or didn't like about it, was that this is just pure joyful energy. Like, it's meant to be a teen show. It's meant to be a teen drama. There's going to be cringy moments, but it's all deliberate. But Aman Vellani, who plays Kamala Khan, is maybe one of the single best casting decisions that the MCU has made. I put her casting up there with Tom Holland Spider-Man, Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man. Like, that's how good she is. She is so suited to the role. She's got that unbridled enthusiasm. And it deals with some really wonderful real-world issues as well. It deals with Islamophobia. Damage Control is kind of an antagonist in this show as well. Damage Control was created to clean up the messes of the Avengers. That's what they were in Spider-Man Homecoming. And they have turned. If you look at Spider-Man No Way Home, they're trying to lock up Peter Parker and everyone who's friends with him. In this as well, they go into a mosque and they try to shut it down because they think they're harboring fugitives. Damage Control is slowly becoming a villainous organization, whether deliberate or otherwise. I wonder what they're like in Wonder Man. I haven't seen that show yet. And I wonder if they're going to have a bigger role to play in Daredevil Born Again Season 2. They haven't shown up yet, but I could see a world where they do. I love this show. It's so joyful, as I mean, it's so fun. Her power set is slightly different. In the comics, Kamala is like Mr. Fantastic. She can stretch, she can make her hands all big and punches people and stuff like that. She does do that in this, but it's more from these manifestations of light. She has like these light powers. She creates platforms out of light crystals. She makes her hands big through a light crystal, that sort of thing. It was an interesting choice. It's definitely different from the comics, and I wondered why they did that. My theory is that they knew Mr. Fantastic was coming, and they wanted him to be the first stretchy guy. That's the only reason I could think of the change. Or maybe on a Disney Plus budget, they were worried of how the animation would look. It's really wonderful. It's really topical. It talks about something as well, a moment in history that I'd never heard of until I watched this show, and it's something called the Partition, which is something that happened in the 1900s, where India got divided up by the British Empire and Pakistan was created. So there's this whole migration of people moving across this kind of like divide in the country. It was a very tumultuous time. This is a real thing that happened. It's not made up for the show. And I think it's really cool and important that a show like this about a teenager getting superhero powers can also teach us a bit about history, some really important stuff that maybe wasn't covered in school. Or maybe it wasn't, I wasn't paying attention, but I was paying attention to Miss Marvel. I 100% recommend this show. I think it's so great. And yes, the superhero stuff is cool, the powers are cool, the costume, by the way, created by her mum. Like, what a sweet moment in the final episode where she wants to go out and like stop the bad guys, and her mum's like, don't go out dressed like that. And you think she's going to get a lecture, but instead she's like, go out dressed in this. And she's created the Miss Marvel costume, which is awesome. So cool. Kamala does return in the Marvels, and she's the best part of that film as far as I'm concerned. But I want more of this family. They're just so much fun to watch. They're so sweet. It's just a joy. That's the key takeaway here, is joy. So, in terms of returning characters for Doomsday and Secret Wars, Miss Marvel's definitely coming back. She was in that concept art. We're definitely getting Miss Marvel back. I imagine her parents will show up at some point as well. They were actually quite a key role in the Marvels and so much fun to watch. Bruno, her best friend, I think will probably come up, and Nakia, I think it's Nakia, not Nakia, but it is spelled the same way. I think she'll probably show up at least in a scene the way Ned did in Avengers Infinity War. But Miss Marvel, I think, is going to be instrumental moving forward, particularly because she's got these bands. Her bands have a similar power set and similar design to the 10 rings from Shang-Chi. So it feels like there's going to be some crossover there. So I think she's going to come in, definitely. We need young Avengers or champions. There's so many fun characters in the universe now that are younger that we can trust to make mistakes. Like, you don't want Iron Man making too many mistakes. He's an adult. But to see Kate Bishop make mistakes, to see Kamala Khan make mistakes, there's a kind of a fun to that, like knowing they're still in training. Go and check it out. It's wonderful. I adore it. Bring it out on Blu-ray already, Disney. What are you doing? Like, release it on physical. Next up is another divisive film. It's Thor: Love and Thunder.